Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Asad Yaqub here, and I welcome you to another super duper video on IELTS in 2026. Okay, if you plan to appear in IELTS in 2026, this video is for you. I'm going to tell you about some noticeable changes in IELTS, okay, in all four modules. And what do we anticipate in 2026? All these things I'm going to tell you. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you all these things on the basis of this book, Cambridge IELTS book number 20, because in book number 20, the way they have actually, modified IELTS, I'm going to tell you all about that. Being a trainer, when I compare, because this is the latest book and it was released in 2025, so what is in this book and how it is different from other books, from previous books, so that can help me decide, and that can help me tell you what is going to happen in IELTS in 2026. Now, let's get started. First of all, as far as listening is concerned, they have simplified IELTS listening part 1, and the question type that they give now is one word and or a number, or it's one word only. Okay, there is going to be a very smooth dialogue, right? And information will flow from one end to the other one. So one word and or a number is short question type in IELTS listening part 1. And I've just seen this book. In this book, we have 4 listening tests, and all 4 listening tests, they have part 1, one word and or a number. So previously, we used to have no more than 2 words. Very previously, even before that, we used to have no more than 3 words, and questions were very confusing. But now they have simplified IELTS, looking at the competitors of IELTS. So this simple thing is one word and or a number, and in part 1, you will find the answer like this. Now, let's talk about IELTS listening part 2. Previously, in IELTS listening part 2, there used to be maps. Sometimes there used to be no more than 2 words, no more than 3 words, and all that. But now and onwards, in listening part 3, they are going to focus 2 type of questions mainly. Number 1, multiple choice questions, right? Where out of 3 options, you have to select 1, or out of 5 options, you will select 2. Along with multiple choice questions, they have matching type of questions in IELTS listening part 2. Okay, and maps, yes, there used to be maps, but now we have Google Maps. So maps are not that much common, although they are the part of IELTS listening part 2, but the frequency of maps is going to be less than before. So in 2026, you will experience less maps, okay? Now let's get going. I've just noticed previously in IELTS listening part, let me tell you, in listening part 3, we have 3 types of M's. Like I call it dinosaur of IELTS listening. So previously, we used to have multiple choice questions with long options. Options were really long, okay? But now in IELTS listening, multiple choice questions, what they have done, the options are not that long as they used to be, right? For example, I've got this listening test 1, and this is the 3rd part. Okay, and the options are weakened immune system, option A, option B, dementia, option C, cancer, option D, obesity, and option E, cardiovascular disease. Previously, the options were really long options, and it was difficult to read the questions within 30 seconds given. But now 26 onwards, in listening part 3 also, multiple choice questions and options, matching type of questions and options, they are not going to be very long, okay? So in part 3, examiners will mainly focus single multiple choice questions, double multiple choice questions, and matching type of questions. So this is the update about listening part 3. Now, let's talk about IELTS listening part 4. Yes, one thing I have noticed, that IELTS listening part 3 and part 4, they are a little more fluent than before, right? When I was solving this test, it's my habit, whenever there is a new book on IELTS, I just solve the tests myself. So when I was solving this test, I realized listening part 3 and listening part 4, they were somewhat fluent. I will not choose the word fast, but I would say they were fluent. So they are fluent. So in listening part 3, you may anticipate some fluency. Be ready for that, okay? As far as IELTS listening part 4 is concerned, in listening part 4, questions like one word only is the norm, and it is going to continue in 2026 as well. And now what have they done? They have even simplified it. The word which is given before the blank, right, that word is going to answer the question. For example, mobiles and blank. Right now, you can see mobiles is plural, so it's going to be something like that. So answer may be mobiles and laptops. In the audio, they will say mobiles as well as laptops. So and will be replaced with as well as. So like this, they have simplified it so that participants, so that candidates can understand each and everything and they find the answers. So this is all about IELTS listening. Overall, listening has become easier as compared to the past. So 2026 onwards, you will have no trouble in that, okay? Now, let's get going. If we talk about reading, previously in reading, there were more questions where questions and answers were not in order. For each question, you had to scan here, there, everywhere. But now what have they done? They have actually organized reading in such a way that there are more questions where questions and their answers in the passage, number one, they are in order. Number two, they are grouped together. Like you, for example, true, false, not given. You will find all the answers in 1 or 2 paragraphs. For example, one word only, sentence completion. You will find all the answers in 1 paragraph. So this has happened in reading, and I think this is a very positive development that now they have actually given you the proper paragraphs where you can easily find the answer. Yes, it may take more time to find the answer to first question, and then you read on, you will find the next answer, you read on, you'll find the next answer and all that, okay? As far as reading is concerned, we have 2 types of questions. One is type A, where questions and their answers are in order. Okay, so these questions are true, false, not given, sentence completion, multiple choice question, sentence completion with a list of sentences, half sentences in the question, half sentences in the option. Okay, their questions and answers are in order. And there are 2 types of questions where questions and answers are not in order, and they are list of headings and which paragraph contains the following information. But now the frequency of type A questions is more than the frequency of type B questions. So good news, in 2026, you will enjoy a little more organized IELTS reading, okay? Now, let's talk about writing. As far as IELTS writing is concerned, in IELTS writing, there hasn't been any noticeable change. In 2026, the same pattern is there, the same type of essays are there. But let me tell you, now for academic IELTS, they are mainly focusing opinion essay, any type of opinion essay, right? So in 2026 also, for academic IELTS candidates, they will focus on opinion essay, like how far do you agree, disagree, do you think, do you believe, and all that. And then along with opinion essay, they are focusing on direct question essay, where they will ask you 2 questions and you have to answer these 2 questions either in 2 body paragraphs, or you may answer 1 question in 2 short paragraphs and second question in 2 short paragraphs. So this is all about essay writing. Otherwise, topics are current in 2026 also. Topics are going to be current issues, whatever is happening all over the world, environment, technology, artificial intelligence, global warming. So these have been the favorite topics for IELTS writing for the examiners, and they are going to be the same in 2026. As far as IELTS speaking is concerned, let me tell you, IELTS speaking examiners are updated. 3 times a year with some new topics for speaking part 1 and with some new cue cards, and those times of the year they are January, April and September. So in January 2026 there are going to be some new cue cards, and these new cue cards are not going to be from Mars, okay? These new cue cards are going to be from our society, people which are all around us, because in IELTS speaking examiners, they have in mind that they have to ask general questions on familiar topics. So those new cue cards are also going to be on familiar topics. There will be general questions in speaking part 1. They may add something about artificial intelligence, about environment and all that. But you know, they ask you this question, do you work or study? And then they ask you appropriate questions. So in 2026 January, we are going to get some new cue cards as well. All the best, guys. Thank you so much. These are some noticeable changes which are going to take place in 2026, and you have to prepare accordingly. But I'm sure many of you are going to get your desired bands, because now IELTS is going to be a little more favorable. IELTS is going to be a little more organized than before, and IELTS is going to be the best choice in 2026. I also teach IELTS online all over the world, and in campus in Lahore, Pakistan. We offer IELTS test booking service. We have different products on IELTS. We have a writing book, speaking book, okay? We have digital book on IELTS reading, digital book on IELTS listening. If you want to get any of these things, you can contact us and we'll give you all the details. Asad Yaqub wholeheartedly wishes you best of luck in 2026. May you get your desired band. Take care. Allah Hafiz.